Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody. So because I haven't been able to keep my promise and upload one actual video before the year ends, today we're going to be ranking all variants of the Drunken Sailor used on SpongeBob. There are a surprising amount of different compositions, some composed specifically for the show, and some taken from music libraries, and it is in general one of the most recurring themes that ties the entire show together, namely used as a sort of motif for the Krusty Krab and Eugene Krabs if we want to get really technical. However, because this is not exactly a series or fully objective video, because I don't care, we're going to skip past further elaboration and just start ranking these. We'll start with What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor? It is my personal favorite, and I honestly think it is one of the best of all Drunken Sailor arrangements on the series. It is by Okko Bekker. It is almost 3 minutes long, and it's mostly just a loop of the main motifs. But it has a pitch change about halfway through, and each iteration is slightly different from the last when you listen to stuff like the accordion bass, or keep an ear out for different notes. And it is for that reason why I think it is very editor-friendly. You can loop it for as long as you want, and it is perfect for a cartoon like SpongeBob. In general, I personally think it is fantastic from both the objective, when you think of the usages for it, and also appreciate it outside the context, and also from a personal perspective, which is why I'll put it in S tier. Right afterward, we'll have Up She Rises, which is a neglected variant of Drunken Sailor, mainly because it's one of the few that doesn't have Drunken Sailor in the name. Actually, I think it might be the only one that doesn't have Drunken Sailor in the name. It is orchestral. You may know this as the NFL song. I forgot who composed it. I'll probably pop it up later, like I'll edit it in. But, this is also S tier. Fantastic, I listen to this all the time. I just love orchestrals. Why it makes sense why it isn't used too often in the series. I believe every episode that uses this track is fantastic. Even the one season 13 episode, Don't Be Dick. I shouldn't like as much as I do, but because of how story-driven it is, I actually really like it. Right after that, we'll have Drunken Sailor B. I believe it has a new name now, based off the file name, but I don't have that memorized, because I am not a sad nerd. Well, I am a sad nerd, just not that much of a sad nerd. I was too lazy to make a title card or find a title card for this one, so it is actually a really nice solo accordion track. A lot of these are solo accordion tracks, but this one in particular, it's a nice loop, and when you listen to it with earbuds, the clicking of the keys are just so so good. So good. Like, they're just absolutely spectacular. Spectacular. Okay? Which is why, although it is not S tier because of how bland it is from a more objective standpoint, I'm gonna have to put it in A tier. It's just a classic track, classic arrangement of a classic sea shanty. Next up we have the Brian Peters version of the Drunken Sailor, which is 30 seconds long, and it was only used twice in the series. One time it was reversed for Squid's Day Off, and the second time was in Sailor Mouth, when SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs give Krabs' mother a heart attack. So because of the unintentional elder abuse related to this track alone, we're going to put this into S tier. Honestly, it is a bit too short. I'm going to have to put it in A tier, because I much prefer the What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor, even though I kind of like the accordion sound in this one a bit better. It's still really good, you know. And surprisingly, to my knowledge, those are all the Drunken Sailor variants used in the first 3 seasons. Now we move on to the one by Nicolas Carr in Season 4, Drunken Sailor. A tier. I love the spoons, I love the, I don't know what instrument it is, but I'll call it a whistle. It's short as well, but it's really unique. I love it, and I wish it was used more. Because it was used a lot in Seasons 4 through 6, but it slowly became less prominent, and that's unfortunate for a series which has the Drunken Sailor as one of its main motifs. Next up we have 2 which were used in a random Season 12 episode, Krusty Concessionaires. One of my personal favorites of Season 12, but it's really different from the rest of the series. That's a different topic entirely though. Drunken Sailor Reel. Even though this was a nice long track, well, the only part which is actually the Drunken Sailor motif is a short segment, like I think 27 seconds in if I remember correctly, or 37 seconds, it's one of the two. And it only lasts like 20 seconds. It is really, really good because it plays with the key, it plays with the notes. It has this unique spin, and I love it so much. And while I'm glad to see Drunken Sailor variant similar to Up She Rises, where it's its own unique composition, but still plays with the notes. The rest of the track is entirely different, and I really don't care for it, and the fact that it was used in SpongeBob is kind of random, especially since they don't even use the Drunken Sailor portion of it. It's just the weird part. And I don't think it fits with the SpongeBob vibe, even though it's Accordion, even though it's Drunken Sailor. It's just very different from the rest of the music. I'm glad it wasn't used again. That said, I put it in B tier. Right after that, we have the John Graham Donaldson version of the Drunken Sailor, which I honestly love a lot. But something about the violin, I don't think it fits with SpongeBob too well. However, its usage in Krusty Concessionaires was fantastic, it blended perfectly. I commend the music editors for that because it's just fantastic work. But looking at it separately, I really don't think it fits with SpongeBob. Something about it. I can't put my finger on why. However, it worked, which is why I still think it's great/good, you know, B tier. It's fantastic. It's a bit short, but still fantastic. Spectacular. So then, right after that, we will have our Drunken Sailor Jig. That is a short sting used in 2 episodes, technically 1. I believe it was a Growth Spout and SpongeBob vs. Patty Gadget. Now, Drunken Sailor Jig, I really like it. It's a nice short sting. Not much to say about it. But yeah, I don't think it's nothing special. There's not much to say about it. It's just a short sting, so that's just a C tier. And then we also have Drunken Sailor Jig with Tambourine. Yep. That's the other one, which is why I said technically 1 version. It's the exact same song, but with Tambourine. Also C tier. They're just good. That's all I can say about it. It's good. High average. It's good. Now we're gonna get a little fruity over here. We have a Drunken Sailor solo accordion. It is an alternate version of another Drunken Sailor solo accordion. It is about 12 seconds long, and it has a short note, short end sting. Well, no end sting. It's just a short note at the end, and it's overall pretty nice. But there's gonna be a reason for this. But I'm gonna have to put that in I'll put that in C tier. You know, it's good. Not much to say about it. And we have a Drunken Sailor solo accordion 2. Exact same as a Drunken Sailor solo accordion, but it has a octave shift, so I don't see it's good. I don't know what else to say about that. Now we have a Drunken Sailor solo accordion WAV.wav. Technically, Drunken Sailor solo accordion NCwav.wav if we want to go that route, but I just had to specify that's WAV.wav, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of this in the SpongeBob sound files, but yeah. This is actually the main Drunken Sailor solo accordion, and it has the end sting. Drunken Sailor solo accordion is the one that doesn't have the end sting. This one does. The WAV.wav, and that's the only way to distinguish the two, because otherwise you have the exact same file names. Yeah, other than that, since Drunken Sailor solo accordion WAV.wav is the main one, I will put it in good rather than average. However, I'm very tempted to put it in average because of that name alone. Moving on, we are looking at Drunken Sailor Transition. Which I really can't say much about. Like the other Drunken Sailor solo accordions, it is a transitionary track, and there's not much to say about it other than it's not used as often as Drunken Sailor solo accordion. It was introduced in the Slumber Party, I think it was. I forget the title of the episode, but I personally really like it. It sounds really good, but whatever. Honestly, I really like this one, and I will put it in B tier. It is great. Ah! Oh my god, I literally made this. I swear, I made this. I made this literal, like 20 minutes ago. And I already forgot that I had more stacked under. Okay, Drunken Sailor Solo Concertina. Sounds a lot like Drunken Sailor B. It was used into square pants or not square pants. Honestly, it isn't that good, and by this point in the series, I'm pretty sure that in this era we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Drunken Sailor transition stings, or just these really short Drunken Sailor tracks, all coming from the same general era, seasons 5 and 6. I might be misremembering that, but some of the more geeky SpongeBob music fans can correct me on that if they want to. Overall, no, I'm putting that in average. It's average. It goes in C. And I guess Drunken Sailor Jig, I'll move that to B because it's good. Rest can move up a bit. But no, overall, when I thought about making this dumb video, I did not expect there to be this many variants. Although I knew there were a lot when you look at the different transitions and include those, I was not expecting this. But yeah, overall though, What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor and Up She Rises are my favorites, and I guess also Drunken Sailor. If I were more biased, I can put Drunken Sailor in S tier, but there's really not much else to say here. I don't know how I can stretch this much longer, but overall, just a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and yeah, bye-bye.